So Unit 5, FMS course, Lesson 5 is on catching. And so what you're going to go do here is you're going to basically go through the PDF document, the PowerPoint, to get the information. You don't have to answer any questions or anything from that, but just do take a good look at all the information that's there tied to those items. So for example, things we need to know is that there's different stages as well in terms of catching. There's also the 3 stages of maturity for catching, and there's some key factors contributing to a mature catching skill. So again, the doing piece is the optimal position to observe, and then of course our 6-step teaching model again. So this will just take you through, and it sort of gives you an idea what the different stages of catching look like. The interesting piece in here is that when you're taking a look at the phases of movement, there is no force production because you're catching. Now later on, you have to think about this. There is something quite similar to force production occurring, but it's a little bit in terms of the opposite. So this is the trick or the challenge for you, is to make the connection here between catching and what's occurring. We're missing the force production, but something similar to that's occurring when we're catching. I want you guys to think about that, you girls to think about that, and sort of figure that out in the responses. So again, it's just going through all the different pieces and what you would then see. What you're going to do is you're then going to move through to this Word document right here. And in this Word document, where'd it go? It was open. I'll just re-click on that Word document again then. Right here. So when this opens up, this is going to be an activity you're going to do. So there's a video that's found down here, right here. So this is the two-handed catch video. So you're going to watch that video. You're going to determine what stage of catch is happening, what time in the video clip you're observing, the object that's being used, and then what try number it is. So again, if you're watching through the video, there's multiple different tries that occur. Indicate which one it is. You then need to describe what the preparation looks like for the catch that you're observing. All right. So again, you've indicated a stage of catch. So the preparation, critical instant, and follow through will look a certain way depending on whether it's stage 1, 2, or 3. I want to put that in there. And then think of some cue words or some feedback you would give to the little girl who's catching. That would maybe help her out in terms of getting closer, let's say, to the next level, the next stage of catching. So if they're at stage 1, you give them some tips to get to stage 2. And if they're at stage 2, some things get to stage 3. And what modifications would you make to the drill that might lead to greater success or to greater learning for this child as well? So I want you to think about those things that can be done. Now you're going to think about Newton's laws or some biomechanical concepts. So there's one major biomechanical concept that must be overcome when catching or receiving an object in all sports and activity. So you need to identify this biomechanical concept and explain what has to be done when catching or receiving it to counteract or to deal with that. Then you're going to think about your biomechanical principles. And so again, as I mentioned, there's no force production when catching, but again, there is something that has to be dealt with. These forces up here from Newton's law, those need to be dealt with. And so what ends up happening in this situation, because the biomechanical principle ends up applying to both throwing and to catching, but for different reasons. So you're thinking reverse order, and explain how or why it's used differently for each skill. So this is sort of hoping you can make the connection between both, and then when this is done and completed, then you can submit it to the assignment Dropbox right here.